This is CCNN Live. On our show today, $15 Dilemma. A new Florida minimum wage brings benefits to young workers.
Hey, I was just wondering if you guys were taking job applications by any chance.
And Not So Sweet 16, teenagers are being forced to cancel birthday plans due to travel industry issues. Finally, Christopher Gomez goes out and about in Miami to discover how a young chef brings French cuisine to his community.
I give them my food, they understand, and they don't really see me as 16 anymore, and they just see me as a chef.
This and more today on CCNN Live. Thanks for joining us. I'm Manny Nacarado. A new minimum wage was passed in Florida's last election cycle, and teenagers are looking for what's most important to them, their bottom line. Tommy Pozo tells us more with his report.
With the new $15 minimum wage being implemented gradually throughout the state of Florida, many teenagers across the state are desperately looking for higher paid jobs. But the question remains, will small businesses like these be willing to pay this increased wage?
I just left my dead-end job because it was paying the current minimum wage, and knowing places like Target and Starbucks are paying $15 an hour, it's kind of like a no-brainer.
Jonathan Gonzalez is obviously frustrated.
The current minimum wage in the state of Florida is $8.65 per hour.
But lucky for him,
Hey,
Florida
I was
recently
wondering
passed a
if you
bill
guys
that
were
would
taking
increase the
applications
minimum
by
wage
chance.
to $15.
So starting in 2021, it would increase to $10 per hour and then $1 per hour for each additional year till you reach 2026.
While this bill sounds great for teenagers, for business owners, it might not make much sense.
I'm not going to be able to afford, 3 to maybe not even 1. I'm going to have to probably be here myself full time.
And as the minimum wage has increased, the percentage of teenagers employed in retail has dramatically decreased. In 2002, 14.5% of retail workers were teenagers, but in 2016, it dropped all the way down to 10.6%. Jonathan thinks an increased minimum wage would attract teenagers back to the workplace.
This is something that's really important for me as an 18-year-old college student. If I can work at a place that pays me $15 an hour so I can be able to afford all my college fees, why wouldn't I try it out?
And as the economy continues to shift due to these rising wages, many teenagers will look toward the future with a hopeful perspective. For CCNN Live, I'm Tommy Pozo, reporting.
Still to come on CCNN Live, tourism is affecting South Florida's economy and its teenagers. This and more after the break. Stay with us.
Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the educational system incredibly, leaving people to wonder if standardized tests are really indicative of a student's intellectual capacity during these trying times. For one thing, testing options have been extremely limited. For the past 6 months, tests across Florida were canceled or postponed. So a student who may have scored a 1400 on the SAT might score a 1200 now, simply due to this stress of college admissions becoming more and more competitive. And it isn't fair for colleges to measure students' intelligence off of a score that is largely altered by a global pandemic. And too many schools are ignoring this problem, and action needs to be taken across all colleges and universities to level the playing field for students across the country. For CCNN Live, I'm Anthony Martinez, reporting.
According to the CDC, the spread of COVID-19 is most prominent between teenagers. As the leaders of tomorrow, it's our duty to wear a mask and inspire others to do the same. Wear a mask. It's the responsible thing to do.
This past year, many travel restrictions have been implemented, and young people are having trouble celebrating their most important milestone. JP Garcia Casals tells us about a young lady whose dream 16th birthday was derailed by COVID-19.
Sun, fun, and the beautiful ocean is what many young girls think of as they plan their Sweet 16 cruises. But due to the COVID-19 pandemic, these plans abruptly came to a halt.
I was planning for a year already to go on this cruise, but then COVID hits.
Carolyn had her dress, her shoes, and even her ticket for her dream Sweet 16.
Turning 16 was something that I've looked forward to my whole life, I had planned a cruise, and to have that taken away from me, it was devastating.
And Carolyn is not the only one affected. Hundreds of girls are in her shoes.
COVID affected our travel agency very hard. Virtually all the cruises were canceled for 2020. We are planning to do something for them in the future.
But the question is when. The Port of Miami estimates a revenue loss of approximately $55 million, which is only expected to increase and be detrimental to the city's tourism industry and its cruise lines.
So the cruise industry right now, I would say, is very much in recovery mode. We're really focused on returning to service. Hopefully very soon, we'll be able to give our guests an extremely memorable vacation experiences.
I wish that no other girl has to experience that, because it's devastating.
Currently, cruise ships are still not sailing, so Carolyn and her family will just have to continue to postpone her Sweet 16 experience. For CCNN Live, I'm JP Garcia-Casals reporting.
What started off as a hobby turned into a small business venture for a teen chef who provides luxurious private meals for couples in their homes. Christopher Gomez takes us out and about in Miami.
On the menu today is eggs with caviar, pork belly, and creme brulee.
This is David Balsham, Miami's upcoming culinary creator. Here's the thing, he's only 16 years old.
One of my old clients, they wanted to take me on a boating trip so I can cook for them. But another difficulty of being a teenager is I have parents. Couldn't go, obviously.
As a sophomore in high school, he has to cut his time between being a student and a chef.
They don't really expect much.
He's talking about his clients. He catches them off guard quite often.
Delicious.
Denise Pozo and her husband decided to celebrate Valentine's Day safely in their home. So they hired David.
So while I was hoping that it would be good, I never expected such an exquisite culinary experience. It was delicious.
How does it feel when you see that just reaction on people's faces of how good your food is?
It's honestly a really good feeling because I'm most of the time stressing for a good 8 hours of the day, prepping.
For David, this is preparing him for his future.
I see myself 15 years, I would say, well, 30. Obviously, I want to open my restaurant by then, but we'll see how the things go.
For CCNN Live, I'm Christopher Gomez, out and about in Miami.
That does it for today's edition of CCNN Live. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to keep up with everything happening at STN 2021 Virtual Convention. And from all of us here at CCNN Live, I'm Manny Nacarado, and have a great day.